Let me set the parameters for our inquiry today. Again, it is an inquiry. I'm not attempting to sell an idea, an ideology, nor convince you of anything. Why am I saying that is? The majority of us has established a resistance to many things in our life because of many form of selling, many form of manipulation. I live with the understanding only when truth hits, even a relationship can be forged. Only when truth hits, any possibility of true meeting can happen. So I am in the agreement that there should be nothing hidden, at least to the point of our communication. It is not an attempt to ask you to put your guard down. More so, I'm saying, please keep your guard up, because the fact is you need to protect you. You need to safeguard you. So in a way, I'm not asking you to trust or believe. I'm asking you to see whether you can allow your own intelligence to participate in this inquiry or dialogue. If I just run a few commentary before I get into the subject. The error of now, if you see any social media, everyone has a point of view they're trying to sell. I'm not against it, but that's what is out there. Have an angle. I'm more approaching this like a scientist, like a researcher, presenting the data. So you may make up your mind, and that's the honest respect. I know you don't need to be led, instructed, so on and so forth. I have been speaking on the subject of meditation for more than 25 years, and I've yet to tell anyone to meditate. And one lady once said, "No, you told me to meditate." I said, "Oh, maybe I made a mistake." But what it meant was, I told her, maybe you should meditate. I didn't say you must meditate. I said it might be a... Why do I take that approach? Because if ever the human will is violated, it will protest. It will block itself out. And many times we live in a world where we are bombarded by so many things. That resistance that we have to create against everything also turns inward against oneself. It is strange, I was reading up on the COVID epidemic. They said, whether you die of COVID, you die of your own biology reacting to the infection. They said your immune system may go into a hyperdrive and that might kill you. On a similar parallel, I'm saying this. So I'm going to try to hold on to this truth that I'm not going to violate, nor sell you an idea, a religion, or a philosophy. I'm more so in deep respect inviting everyone to hold themselves true to themselves. So maybe we can meet in this deep respect. I hope to assure this for you. I've lived a life holding this principle to the best of my ability. Could I have made an error? Possibly, but I don't want to. Because I think self-respect is the highest thing. That means you do what is right for you. So it is my responsibility to communicate in a way that I do not insult your intelligence, persuade you, and more so to hold you true to the fact you are responsible for you as how I am responsible for me. Not to overclaim to help or to save you in any way whatsoever. In the culture I was brought up in, we have this gesture, and I love this gesture a lot. It is respect for each human being and their dignity and sovereignty to live out what is theirs to live out. Not simply to be a pawn, a thought, a philosophy of someone else's idea, which I think so freely everybody wants to convert everybody to something. And I'm stating I'm completely against that. I think each is a light to himself to live out. So I want to establish this to the depth of my possibility. Because I wouldn't want that to be done to me. I want to maintain my freedom, my dignity, my sovereignty. Some of you may think you need help. If you ever go through any of what I've put down and shared over time, you'll come to realize actually you don't need help. Maybe that's the only help. You just need to be awake to you. Many times after many programs or retreats or meditation, people write and thank me, and there's a rule around me that they shouldn't thank me. You do not thank the mirror. You can be grateful to the mirror, but the mirror reveals what is there. So if we begin this inquiry, we are beginning not to attain to something. We are beginning to see how can I recognize myself better? How can I see me more? You see, the discovery on this earth, any discovery from flying to nuclear power, we use the word discovery. It's not new. It was there that we now recognize. Like now I'm in the pursuit of building a place, like a small township. And we are trying to study about renewable. And we are discovering, we use the word discovering, how many faculties we have to have clean energy. But it's a recognition, it can be done this way. So the pursuit we are undertaking, not about attainment, in the first 3/4 of the journey, it's about recognizing what is already there. So it's not about adding something to you, to know what is already there. Is it possible for a moment we sit in this respect? We sit together. I am not attempting to teach you meditation or any such thing. I'm saying it's there if you choose to discover it. Now, today we enter the subject. One of the inquiries I want to go into is the error of this. I suspect this is an error for the last 2,000 years. That we stepped out and forgot to step in this way. Almost everything we learn is skills about dealing with the world. I hope I can communicate. It's a very delicate subject. We go get a degree to do a particular job. We learn a relationship skill to be with another. But nowhere do I see There is a learning how to hold you. Even if you do yoga, which I'm sure it's wonderful, I've done it before, I haven't done it in many, many years. It's about holding your posture, your breath, and so on and so forth. But we miss holding you. You see, I tell you a story that might communicate this. When I was about 10, 11 years old, in my village, I wanted to learn martial arts because there's a lot of bullies in my school, so I needed to learn how to defend myself. So I went to see this Muslim master. His name is Part 1. Very beautiful man. He took me in almost like his son. And he taught me martial art. But more than martial art, what he taught me was he instructed me of me. First was a skill how to fight, how to defend myself. But eventually he was teaching me about me. How should I hold me? And I'm seeing in this world that is the lack. All our eyes are looking at skills, method. That is why no education guarantees happiness, guarantee decency, guarantee love. You cannot tell a person who has PhD or a person who's a superstar in the business world can love. Love seems to be a completely different subject. It needs a different orientation. And then we stumble upon the closest to the inquiry of oneself as psychology. And psychology went into the healing modality. It didn't go into the modality of integrity. I know when I speak about this, there's a great difficulty in even grasping this. I've seen even people who claim to be experts can't seem to grasp this. What was the training one went through over oneself, the me, the I? Not my skill, not my knowledge of the world, not my knowing how to split atoms. How do I be me? This being, which everything begins afterward. And what has happened is, this I, whatever that is here, is absent. Someone is a doctor. He has the skill of medicine. But that skill must be employed by him. That state of I is never developed and people are blinded about it. And in my own study, it's about 2,000 years ago, more than the man you are, the skill you have dominated. Now again you might think, oh, if I meditate. No, meditation is another skill that does not guarantee will deal with the person you are. I have seen the simplest people. I had the good fortune to run into them. The simplest of human beings, no education, daily labors. Oh my God, they love. The being is so developed. And I have seen people who could feed a village without effort. And I didn't know where the heart was. It's not I'm condemning anybody. I'm just saying the training. Like my martial art master will say, it's not how you punch, it's how the person you are who carries that punch, he will say. So beautifully. We take a moment to sit with this. Because it's very hard to be orientated to this. It's like almost somebody wants to be loved. I'm not an expert in that, in relationships, but they immediately say, do I look good? Do I look beautiful? Am I? Not that. How am I holding me? That can be the space in which love can touch. So the abortion to the outward, has made one minus oneself. And this is so hard to grasp because nowhere in the world this is communicated truthfully. Your skill is adored, your talent is appreciated, you go on being unrecognized as a being. I don't like that word being because it takes it to some spiritual thing. How much energy one has spent in putting oneself right. Slowly, take some time. I'm not persuading meditation. Then is another skill you learn to do. I've seen people who can sit silently for 10 hours. It's a skill. It's no different than the juggler who can juggle 12 balls. I'm saying the awareness of what is here. It appears to me we have been breeded to live out a skill, to perform a task. In order to dedicate myself to only producing that, I must become unaware of what is here. And is the state of the world, if we at all have a correction for the world, is it the byproduct of the non-training, sorry for that word, I don't have any other word, of what is here? It's almost like my martial art master taught me how to be a man properly, I think, if I do not exaggerate that statement. He didn't teach me how to fight another human being, even though I learned that skill. But he taught me about me. He taught me the disciplines I needed to have within to mature what is here. So I'm proposing a theory that it has been a systematic callousness, ignoring of the entity that is here, and this entity that is here is not developed. It's like this, the story that is unfolding currently for me is I've got a dog. I haven't had a dog in 35 years, 30 over years. He's a pit bull. And it's about a year old. And he has been in a cage for the longest time. So recently I got it and I didn't want him to be in the cage. He looked kind of fierce, but he ended up to be a real cutie. And I kept watching him. His legs are not that strong. For that age, they must be stronger. Why? He was in a cage. He didn't have a chance to run. He seemed to get winded a little bit. If he wants to play, then he gets winded. Then I said, this boy needs to be worked out. He needs to run. He needs to play, throw a ball and play and build his stamina. And I think that is the state of human being. The person is not built. My skill is built. My ability is built. My perception of the world is built. Once I met a singer, amazing to die for. I said, I know he's a great singer. Tell me about him. People couldn't tell. And even they tell some of his idiosyncrasy. I said, tell me the person he is. Now, I am saying that determines more of the outcome of life and the quality I live out in this life than the skill I acquire. So can I say, would you be inclined to look into it, that I have ignored the most important thing? We read books how to be successful. We read book how to have good relationship. We rarely read book how to be good to oneself. How to be in a way that one is internally fit. Then we must be a cruel species. For all I'm concerned about is my experience that I experience with you. I am not concerned of you as a being separate from what I'm getting out of it. I'm interested in the apple tree for the apple it gives me. I don't care about the tree. But if I'm any kind of a farmer, if the tree is not well, the fruits will not be well too. If I say I love you, then I love that you. And I'm saying there is a void in the world, and there are so many people claiming to be gurus, this, that, and the other, are not doing anything but again teaching another skill. How not to be sad, how, whatever the skill they are teaching, is still an outward expression. And they appear to be very bothered about the exhibition of being spiritual and so on and so forth and all of the rest of it. Once somebody told me, they were vegetarian and they care about not killing. He said, how about you, Master? I said, well, I care about the farmer. I care about the animal not being killed too. But I think beyond that, I care about the farmers. They are my species. I start with mine first. I care about you. I think it's online. She wrote to me a question in the Devi Ashram. I appreciated that question. And I think my reply it even puzzled me quite beautifully. I said, hoping we would be the kind of human being we can be. To assume we are already that is rather calloused. Now, let me get into the sixth rite. That's what a lot of you have come to hear. What is the sixth rite? It is solely the inner discipline needed for you to be the best version of you for you. It's not an outward skill. It's a skill about you. It has taken a long time to discover it. Actually, I discovered it 25 years ago. It took 25 years to put it down in a way that it can be transferred without becoming an ideology, a religion, and not even lost as a science. Even science is the reduction. But very few people spend the energy on them as a being. We work on our house, we work on our career, we work on so many things, but not on us, this being. More so, that is ignored. Many times when people come to me and they want to tell me about their mother, my reply is, please first tell me about the woman who was your mother. Please tell me the man who was your father, then talk about your father. So I think you can become quite clear a little bit if we go into this. There is an absence of a skill of paying attention to this, and I'm saying it has been absent for over 2,000 years. Our output has been more important. Our reactions towards the world and the world's reaction towards us has become more important than what is here as you and me. Then we think a richer person has more value than a poorer person. A person with a greater intelligence is far more significant than a non-intelligent person. And then we live in that segregation. For a fact, we most probably can pronounce that we live in a world that there is no care for this. That is me. Now, I'm not attacking the world, even though it sounds that way. No, I'm not. I understand in many aspects, more than most people, why it ended up the way it did. It's just the evolution. We probably are exactly where we need to be. And even now, you might struggle to grasp what I'm saying because there is a problem, a living problem, and you want to solve it. Somebody says, Master, I'm sad, how to solve it? I said the sadness is telling you are here. Let's deal with that more than your sadness. The sadness is reminding you have been absent to you. Popping a pill, doing a therapy and dissolving the sadness might be numbing you again to reappear more deeply later. Now, what is the sixth rite? Just checking the time. It is the internal state that one attains, and by that attainment of that internal state, one holds oneself rightly from going beyond being an effect, going beyond the inability to face fact, to go beyond the forgetfulness that you have a command of yes and no, to go beyond not to be enslaved by this body. And to wake up to Jayam, to wake up to this inner victory of being the person one can be for oneself and not burdening to be oneself into an outward attainment, and finally to wake up to be a blessing to all. I don't know why I'm speaking about my martial art master. He died some time ago. He was a kind man who took pity on this boy and took me in. And I used to go into tournaments, and he used to say this to me, and I didn't get it for a long time. In Malay, they say, "Menang sebelum langkah." It means what? No, win before you enter the ring, he said. You don't go enter the ring and try to win. Then you are using the outward to create something. He said, find it in you. Walk in there as a winner. He said, sometimes a winner lose. Sometimes a loser win. Doesn't change anything, he says. He says, walk in there. You win within. He's talking about Jayam. And many times he'll sit with me quietly. And he said, you got it yet? Not yet. Are you looking for it? Find it, find it, find it. And at one moment, as I was doing this for many years, I could tell him, yeah, I'm there, sir. I'm ready. I'm not fighting that person to be a winner. I found me as a winner. Now I'm just going out to celebrate that. You understand? And now this enters into creation. Creation is quite a stretch for a lot of people. When you find it within you, see, it's a very subjective word. You forgive me for not being able to articulate it. It takes a lot of work to articulate. When I find it within me and I can hold me to that, the law of creation state, it will explode outside. Recently, we released an album called, what is the name of the album, Manba? Huh? Oh, The Feet of the Beloved, sorry. It's a violinist. When I first met him, he's a very beautiful man. He thanks me to make it happen, but not really. It was in him. It was him. All I did was play a role to do my part. Not that I know much about music. I just found somebody else who could able to produce it. And I barely had 10 meetings with him, and wow. It was him. It was not his skill, He spent years learning it, I'm sure. Loge spent years training it. But he was training to express what is that. So the outward didn't give him this. He gave the outward this. It was in my own way of saying thank you for the genius he is. And it was my privilege to play a small role. It was very kind of him to dedicate that album to my name. I'll take it. As much as you love, you must allow others to love. But there is nothing for him to thank me, it is him. And the producer and all his friends. And I pluck a mango from a tree. Don't thank me, thank the tree. It's nothing to do with me. I'm the thief. A happy thief, though. Now, maybe I'm communicating. Like recently, I got a farm, got a big farm, 700 over fruiting trees there. And they kept telling me this information. I thought you plant a tree, you pour water, when it grows big, that's it, it will give fruit. He's saying when I should put what for it and what has to be sprayed and what has to be looked after. I'm like, oh my God. And I have to pray it. I have to feed it. I feed the tree. Then it turns out to be a fruit, which means this is the science that is missing about us. We don't know how to hold this. Give this what it needs. When you are freed of being affected, madam, you are not being eaten by the outside. You nourish you. And that nourishment will produce something. There are charlatans out there who exploit you by converting you to this idea, by promising, by doing that, you will get something. No, you have to get anything. You can convert yourself to any ideology. You can do anything you want. Until it is not feeding this being, nothing going to happen, is my conviction. At most, you can create a fool's goal. But now, we go on a little bit. I'm going to use a bit of a harsh word. Most human beings are cowards. They dare not face what is here. Because they have spent a lifetime not facing within. It is a terrorizing proposition to find out the person I am and the person I can be. The moment you see the person you are and you see the person you can be, then you find the discipline to hold so you can be the person you can be. Like sometimes, I give it this way. If I ask somebody, what will make you happy? You will say, a good relationship, a nice house, nice money. Really? Have you found evidence? When will you be happy? When you are happy. When you are developed. When you are nourished. Again, many of you would challenge this. I would welcome the challenge. We can talk about it. My statement is simple. I can tell it to you by the story Osho once told. He said, Mullah Nasruddin at night was looking for his key outside his house. A friend came by, said, what are you doing, Mullah? I said, I lost my key. They both looked. After 20 minutes, the friend said, where did you lose your key? He said, inside the house. Then he asked, what are you doing outside? He said, it's brighter. I'm not saying a relationship is not going to make you happy, but I can guarantee the happy person can be happy in a relationship. Money is not going to make you rich. Unless you find the richness in here, the money can be the tool of expression. Like Loges found music in him, the violin. You must see the guy play it. I'm waiting for COVID to end to do a world tour. You must see him play it. It's him, don't convince. I can take the violin and play it. It will look like I'm killing some kittens. I once, many years ago when I was young, took up violin lesson and the teacher almost begged me to quit. Because the cats were migrating. It looks like I was killing the cat. Again, have you been minused? Have you been judged for your outward by that dismissing what is within you? I am. Whether I'm a failure or a winner in this life is irrelevant. I am. And very few people, from my research, and I've traveled, I've spoken to thousands of people, are even clued into this. if you even take meditation, which come close to this, is another tool to get into some ideology. I don't know why all meditators must be vegetarian. I don't know why. They always have a philosophy. It feels like another coping mechanism, another outward skill. Now, today, is it possible that I must spend a little energy in putting this right, the person right? Or have I lost that truth completely? I sometimes think about aging like a fruit maturing, When a fruit matures, the seed is done, is ready. Is that aging? When the inner is fully done, the body can be discarded. Is that what aging is? But since the inner is never recognized, the being is never recognized, aging seems like a punishment. Now, sorry to go into all that philosophy. Now, what is the sixth right? Well, it's a series of learning, exploration, training about you. I am not concerned whether you're happy, sad, rich, poor. That is secondary to me. I'm concerned about you because I know when you are right, everything will fall right. The Hindu, there's a statement, very beautiful statement. Aham Brahmasmi, they say. They say, I am Brahm, I am Brahman. I am, this I am is Brahman, he says. He didn't say I can do this, that, and the other. He said this is Brahman itself. Kudambai says it so beautifully. Anda karanam adanga adakkinal, sondam Brahmanadi Kudambai, sondam Brahmanadi. Could it be the answer is you? Training this you, and it requires a bit of training and discipline. My martial art master, and I've had many, many teachers and masters in my life, use martial art to correct me. He dealt with me, not how I deal with the world. He dealt with me. Now, am I sold by the world's advertisement? That if once I'm sad, if I get that, I'll be happy. Maybe you will for a while. Or that sadness is an indication I must learn how to hold this right. What are the 6 right? It is part of the 18 right, which spans over 158 stages. The first 6 right is the first 1/3 of that evolution. Is the basic quality you need to have to hold you rightly. And this is what Master's view is. If you hold you rightly, almost all around you will fall rightly. Give the right person to do, even the thing that can fail will work. Give it to the wrong person to do, the things that succeed will fail. I think Jack Walsh has said, the right person for the right job. Now, madam, sir, I'm not speaking about an experience of this life. I'm not speaking about your sorrow, your pain. I'm not speaking about your trauma. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a soothing ointment. I'm proposing some internal discipline that is critical. I just finished, after people do the 6 right, and if I think they have it, they are invited to a program called Work where I directly conduct. I just completed one and it blew me away. The training is designed for an inner stamina, an inner awakening. It's almost a pressure when the carbon turns to diamond. Let me make some broad statements that will help you. Just checking the time. What a beautiful opportunity to be alive. I don't care the experiences of this life. Maybe I do a little bit. I like a nice car, nice house. I like that. But beyond that, that's secondary. That's just to hold comfortably what is here. The most important is this. To be a good husband, husband is a role. Sometimes people say he's a good husband. I say, what is that? I have to be a good person first. I must be good with me. Then that role I can execute rightly. This is my proposition to humanity. For 2,000 years, many powers, politicians, have converted you to build kingdoms and nations, which we should build, but it should not be at the expense of my being. And since my being is not developed, I become rather stressed and duress. And then they sell me a nice car, thinking that will settle it. It's like thinking that woman is going to be impressed with you if you buy her flowers. The flower comes after. You have to impress her as the person you are first. The flower is not going to do the job. So once somebody asked me, it's a joke, somebody said, you think she will like me if I buy flower? I said, first go be a person the woman will like. Then you buy her anything she will like. If a woman can like you because you buy a flower, the florist is getting lucky. I think that's the word. Eric knows those words. Today. Again, sir, I'm doing this with not insulting that you do not have what I have and what my masters have. I'm saying you have it. The point in which a guru can give you something is almost the last 3 steps before enlightenment. Up to that time, he just reveals to you what is already there. It's almost like Michelangelo when he carved out David. It's a beautiful story. The marble seller had a marble, he didn't know what to do with it. Then Michelangelo said, can you give it to me? He said, go for it, take it away. Then he made David. He said, how did you do, David? Wow, what a beautiful, magnificent carving. He said, no, I saw him inside, I just removed. He was already there. I just took out the pieces. Now you were told there is something lacking in you, like that. I don't want to use the dog as a parallel example. It's a pit bull. It's been in a cage, it's a little weak, just needs some fitness training. Now the question is, am I fit enough to train it? Or maybe by training it, I will get fit too. So we've been working out. In a little while, it will become fit. And it will be strong. And I think the 6th rite is your inner exercise. To me, it's a revelation when I discovered it. When I've been able, not discover it, when I was able to communicate it, when I'm able to say it in a way you can probably grasp it. That's the miracle. I discovered it 25 years ago. I just didn't have the language. And in a way that is not converted to only science or religion or spirituality and all that. It's delivered as it is. And if this 6th rite can be absorbed, and if it can be used diligently by you as you for the waking of you, I do not care you meditate. I care about the meditator. I don't care you can make a headstand. I hope you can hold your head high. For that I stand. It is you that matters. And the sixth rite holds this truth for you. And the first part of the graduation of the sixth rite is this. You must be able to hold you in such a way your life falls in order. You live the life of integrity, the way you want to live. I see an elderly gentleman, I think he's, I don't want to pronounce it, but I think you know who I'm referring to. So I'm not teaching. I think you are like 5 years older than me only, but I'm not here trying to say smarter or trying to direct you. I am not that rude, sir. Maybe I'm here to give you a mirror that will make you appreciate the man you already are. You see, when I became, the word became enlightened is wrong. When I woke up to it, you know what I realized? I was that always. People ask me, how does it feel? I say, how to feel? It's me. It's not something I attain. It's something the inner matured and one day it revealed itself. And these disciplines were the backbone of it. Remember, they're quite complicated discipline. The sixth rite is the basic entry. I'm one of the gurus who's not going around the world saying, I love, I'm the guru who's going around the world telling that my disciples love. I don't know whether I love. I'm certain the dog I got, I'm so sorry, I'm excited about the dog. I'm very certain he loves me. He keeps looking at me. Every time I go, he moves everywhere. He goes, catches a ball, give it back to me. I don't know whether I love. I have to now. I'll try. I'm certain my disciples love. I am not here to say I love. Come on, I'm me, sir. Now I'm asking, have I spent energy developing me? When I went to my master's, even when I studied some of the most complicated intellectual things, metaphysical things, they were all a tool to develop this. It's like I lift the weight, not to build the weight. I lift the weight to build my muscle. It's to build my muscle. So what is the sixth rite? From my view, is one of the internal laws. If you learn it, you subscribe to it, you hold yourself to it, some of the best thing in you will be lived out. And you'll be undoing this 2,000-year error of ignoring you. Women as a person was ignored. How you looked was more important. What the man produced was more important than the man itself. And then what happened? They found there was a gap. We have to be developed. Then they created meditation, spirituality. Again, they used that lure to make you uphold somebody else's idea. And then we get into a cult. Whether you like it or not, it's a goddamn cult. There are very few people in my travel that I've seen deal with this, with you. One of it is Gregory. It is somatic work, I've seen it. He's dealing with you, with what is there. So I must not deal with the fruits of the tree. I must deal with the tree, with the root. The moment it is healthy, that's the only way to guarantee the output. I'll finish shortly. I don't want to take much more time. I'm not sure whether I have justified your time, whether I've put this down correctly. All I'm saying is it's an effort for you to explore what you can be in a simple discipline, a very simple discipline. It's a discipline how to hold you. Is let's say if I say, my mommy didn't love me. My mommy did, but let's say my mommy didn't love me. More than correcting my mommy, maybe I should find within me how to hold myself that I can be loved. You see, I had an experience in the northern part of Thailand many years ago, where there was a tiger named Maya. He was a semi-wild tiger, lived with the monks. Don't ask what I was doing with that monk. I explored many philosophies. Part of the training is you have to hold yourself right. If not, the tiger will, I don't know. I don't know whether it likes Indian food. It's a beautiful technique. I have to hold myself, don't wobble, don't get frightened, because that fella smells it. And every time he comes near, you trust me, if you have a bowel movement problem, it is solved. It's all very nice to talk about tigers when they're semi-wild. They are designed to frighten you. But then you hold you. Then it's an inner discipline. And thank God I had years of training with my master. And one day it happened, it was right there in front of me. And I think we became friends. It's like how in the Western you all say, we had a moment or something. I think we had a moment. And from that day we were good. It even allows me to touch it. But that was a judgment, not whether I'm a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whether it's a judgment of me as the person I am. So now I'm asking, is life testing my skill or is it testing the person I am? And how much energy have I spent cultivating, working, holding rightly? Or we have become so cunning, we have methodologies that we apply outwardly to get what we want without developing this inner. It's exactly like a physical muscle in some sense. So I'm talking about the person you are, not what happened to you, not what happened to your childhood, not the experience, none of it. I'm talking about you. And the sixth rite begins, are you functioning from being affected? Or you are recognizing that you can affect? Are you able to stay with a fact or do you hallucinate? Have you discovered the power of yes and no within your own heart? Have you been enslaved by the body? Can you wake up to Jayam, to victory? And finally, are you a blessing to all? The Jayam is the key. Why it is the art of creation is, if you can wake up within here, it happens outside. Like Master Paint a bit. I'm planning probably to have an exhibition sometime next year when the COVID settles. Part of the skill of painting is to put a blank canvas, to have a kind of idea what you're going to paint, do a lot of sketches, bit of color study, and then sit and pray. That somewhere internally you can see on the blank canvas. That I can see me doing this. Because every painting is a miracle. You cannot repeat it. And something happens. Then tomorrow you wonder, did I do this? What we have been exposed to is pundits that have cunning ways to manipulate experiences without being the person. It's like trying to find ways to get the tree to give apple without it growing. Trying to get respectability by creating fear in another. And so on and so forth. I'm not certain whether I communicated rightly or well today. But I hope I held my respect. Again, I tell you this, honor me with this. I'm not trying to do anything to anybody. I'm not spreading a religion or anything. I'm just a boy from a fishing village who stumbled upon something pretty extraordinary for himself. And I'm saying everybody has it. Like how I talked about low gaze and everybody else. At most, call me Michelangelo. No, I don't think you can. I'm just seeing what is there and I'm helping you to discover it. And the sixth rite is a celebration of that. And I think they are doing a class soon. If I'm not stuck in my farm and pretending to be a farmer, I'll join you. And most often I leave instruction, this should be run in deep celebration, deep fun, deep laughter, without disrespect. With this I end this. I hope to talk to you all soon. There's so many of you. I'm sure there are people I failed to mention. You forgive me for that. Above all, know that this man holds you in incredible respect. That's how he respects himself. With that, can I say thank you? Can I end now? Is it possible? Thanks, guys.